What's up guys, it's Mark Dander here, and today we're going to talk about some Instagram growth strategies for 2019. A lot of people are watching videos and are making videos at the moment about Instagram because it's probably the hottest social media platform out there. It's recently hit 1 billion users, active users that are accessing the accounts like every month, and Instagram is really starting to hotten up. So today I wanted to talk to you about some of the strategies that I've been putting in place myself, and some of the kind of like hot topics that are out there within the industry, and some of my thoughts on that. So a little bit about me first, just so that I can kind of like let you know what I do and kind of like how I know these things. I run an influencer marketing agency. I've been working in social media now for the past few years, working on some of the world's biggest brands, such as like Superdry, Nokia, Coca-Cola, and other, huge businesses like that. I wanted to talk to you about some of the Instagram strategies that we've been putting in place, both for my personal accounts and some of the accounts that I've worked on in the past as well. Now, you would have probably watched quite a lot of videos recently talking about loads of different strategies for, now, 2019, and the future. And you'll hear quite a lot of the same things from like various YouTubers out there that are going to talk to you about these like different hacks about how to grow on Instagram. And quite a lot of these, they don't really work. You'll put a lot of effort in for, not a lot of reward. And it's quite difficult really to judge how they, can really impact your account when you're just starting out. A lot of these YouTubers, and a few that I've met as well, they talk about, DM groups, follow and follow, paid ads, paid shout outs, and, various different like hacks as they call them. But quite a lot of these, they don't really work for, fresh accounts that are brand new. They'll show you loads of highlights about how they've done it, but various times they've probably already owned a network of accounts that they're putting a lot of weight behind them, and they make it look very authentic, but I'm quite skeptical about how these accounts really work. So I don't really believe them. So I wanted to talk to you about various different ways that we can grow on Instagram these days, that some of these other YouTubers are stating that they're amazing. And I kind of want to talk to you about how they work, and what might be in it for you, whether you've got a small account, a big account, and just give you some kind of like real practical thoughts on that, and really kind of let you know the truth about a lot of these different growth hacks that they're talking about these days. So the first one that seems to be the most apparent, that every YouTuber out there is talking about, is these like Insta DM groups. Now, if you don't know what it is, basically you go out there and find several other Instagram accounts that are kind of in your niche. So say for example, if you have a travel account, then you might go and find other travel accounts, and basically you message them and say like, hey guys, I want to know whether you'd be interested in joining a DM group. And then what you do is you upload all your content as you post it into that DM group, and then everyone who is taking part also uploads their content into that group, and you then have a what's more kind of like an agreement in place where you will like and comment and follow on all of those accounts. So if you're a brand new account and you've just uploaded a photo, you would then upload that photo to the DM group, and everyone within that DM group would then like and comment on that photo. The aim behind it is to start to gain some leverage on the account, to start to show Instagram and the algorithm that people are commenting and people are liking it, and so therefore this post must be like a really hot post. It must be trending, it must be like really topical, and it must be really popular. And so the aim is to really give it a boost within Instagram's algorithm, so that then it gets shown to more people and maybe it'll hit the explore page. Now, the one thing that I want to talk about within DM groups is that the vast majority of them out there are a waste of time, mainly because everyone's trying to grow, everyone's trying to do their own thing, and nobody cares about you. Sorry to say it, but it's just the truth. People aren't really that interested in your small account. Everyone out there is trying to grow their account. They're trying to, get help from bigger accounts. And so the aim of helping you when you're just starting out isn't really that appealing to that many people. And so it can be quite difficult to grow. Most people aren't really that interested in, helping other people within that DM group. They're more interested in just growing themselves. So you'll find that the activity within that DM group is usually quite small. It's not really professional. People aren't really that bothered about really trying to help each other grow. They're only really in it for themselves and trying to gain access to bigger accounts so that they can grow their own page. So most DM groups, they'll fail before they even start. So I wouldn't waste your time joining all of these different DM groups because most of them just aren't really going to help you, especially as a new account. If you've got a slightly larger account, maybe a few thousand followers already, that's when DM groups might start to help out a little bit. But again, the amount of effort that you would put in for the reward just isn't really there. The main aim is that as people start commenting and liking your picture, it will then start to show the algorithm that this is a popular post, and then it might start to show that image or video to more people within the algorithm, within their newsfeed, and that kind of then opens it up to more of your own followers. At that point, once you've kind of got a following and more people start to see your content, then it might start to work out a little bit better for you, because those people that kind of give you that initial boost, then it starts to widen it out towards the rest of your audience, and then those people might start to see it and comment on it and start to make it a little bit more, start to grow it a little bit more within the algorithm and start to make it a little bit more popular. But that only really works when you've got, a really engaged DM group, and most big accounts, they just don't bother unless they're already in a network that they've been a part of for quite a long time. So I really wouldn't recommend wasting your time. The other thing is that within the industry that I work in, within influencer marketing, you'll see a lot of different people talking about, like Instagram marketing agency or like an Instagram ads agency. But these kind of like, start to work within, their own niche. They'll start to work within helping people grow their accounts. But in terms of working with like major businesses that want to pay you to start growing their own online presence and really start to make an impact, so working with influencer marketing, you want to find the right influencers to sell your products, for example. They don't tend to look that kindly on DM groups, and we as professionals within that market will spot them a mile away, because we will look at your content and we'll start to see that the same people every single day are commenting the same comments on all of your pictures, and we know that those people aren't really that engaged. They're doing it because they want to grow their own accounts, not really because they care about your content and how good it is. And so from that point of view, if we were looking for someone to work with, we wouldn't work with an account that is using DM groups, because we know that engagement is fake. It's not real. It's not really people that are interested in your content, but they're only doing it to help grow themselves. And from that, we wouldn't really see it as a positive outcome for any brands that we're working with. And so I'd really recommend just not working with DM groups. It's a waste of time and you won't really see much growth out of it. So that's DM groups. I'd leave them out if you can. It's not really worth it, and would probably just be a waste of your time. The second strategy that I want to talk about is working with influencers on paid shout outs. Quite a lot of YouTubers out there now will be talking about paid shout outs within influencers and how they can really help grow your account. Now, I will say, from experience, this can work and it can work really well, but you have to be very, very, very selective with the influencers that you work with. What I would I say was apparent is that when you start looking for real people that have an authentic audience, and they talk about a particular niche. So for example, if you're looking working within the food industry, it might be worth working with a food influencer that is really authentic as a person, and so they put themselves in a lot of their content, and they really make it apparent that they really care about this industry and what it is that they talk about. You'll find that there'll be a lot of large accounts out there that will be based around food, and it'll be this kind of like food porn accounts where you'll get loads of pictures of burgers and pizzas and that kind of thing, but I wouldn't really class them as an influencer. I'd just class them as a community account that shares a lot of other people's content. So from that, you can find a few good ones out there, but quite a lot of these massive accounts that maybe have like 1 million followers on Instagram, they've built them from either just buying other accounts or, growing other accounts by using bots or, like old school DM groups where nobody really cared about the content, but they just tried to grow these accounts. And you'll find that the audience there isn't really that engaging. The content isn't that engaging. People don't really care about it that much. Yes, it might get a few likes, but they're very passive. And quite a lot of the likes that are required on these accounts are often bought and fake as well. They want to give this appearance that they're a huge account and they've got great engagement, but when you really start to look into the numbers and the engagement that's out there, it's not that great. Whereas if you're working with an influencer that's a genuine influencer that's built an account over time and have a really engaged audience, then they might be great to work with. So one thing that I'll say about paid shout outs is that they cost quite a bit of money. You'll end up spending hundreds of dollars or pounds or whatever currency it is that you're working in, and it'll be very difficult to see a return straight away because your account probably doesn't have that much content. It's slowly growing. It's not really got a hugely engaged audience of itself. And so when you're buying these paid shout outs, these influencers might drive traffic to your page, but what is it that this audience is now seeing when they get there? It's probably not a lot of content. It's probably not a lot of engagement. And so what would it be that really kind of inspires them to follow you and to engage in your content anyway? You'll find that when you work with a lot of these large community accounts, yes, you might get some followers, but they're not really going to be that engaged. And so again, like when you're trying to grow an account, it's best off to kind of start slowly and start really building a community rather than just trying to gain followers as fast as you can, because in the long run, you'll just end up losing engagement. And when brands want to come and work with you, the first thing they're going to look at is how engaged are your audience. And if you've got a large following but not very much engagement, then they'll probably question where that following has come from and probably won't want to work with you. So again, I would really kind of like recommend trying to grow an audience organically first before you look at paid shout outs. And at the same time, when you do look to these paid shout outs, I look at working with more genuine influencers that have built a presence more around themselves and their own authority within that niche rather than just a community account. Unless that community account is like highly active, has a very engaged audience, it's working within the community to share, as many people within that community as possible and really grow a community around a common theme, then, maybe they might be an option to work with. But when you're looking at just a huge account that just shares any picture and isn't really getting that much engagement, then I really wouldn't recommend it. The other thing that I really want to talk to you about is follow, unfollow. And this has kind of been going around Instagram for years. And that follow unfollow was great, 5 years ago when Instagram was really kind of just starting to kick off, because people were really interested in people coming to their page and they would just be like, oh, who's this person that's just followed me? I'll follow them back. And that used to be the community. Whereas now that everyone is hugely focused on just their own accounts and this vanity metric around how many people follow them as opposed to how many people they follow, it's really difficult to grow accounts in that way. And nobody really wants to follow you if you're going to unfollow them in a few days' time. And people are a lot more skeptical about the people that are following them these days. And they're not going to follow you back if they really care about how many people they're following, and how that is then perceived to the world. So people don't just follow people now for any old sake. They really want to follow people because they're being given something in return for that, for their time and their effort and their likes and their comments. So you would, before you start to try and engage with people on Instagram, you should really have put a lot of effort into your content and really try to grow an account organically first, just based on the amount of content that you're sharing. and the amount of effort that you're putting into that. So for example, with accounts that I'm growing at the moment, before I start to engage with people, I probably already have 50, 60, 70 posts already on my page that are very focused around a particular niche. So say, for example, it's travel, or whether it's food, or whether it's fitness, or whether it's fashion, for example. All of these accounts will have a lot of content already on that page before I start trying to drive any traffic to it. So if people start to land on your page and you've got nothing there, or people aren't engaging with it, then they're not going to engage with it. So follow and follow to grow an account from scratch just really doesn't work, and really doesn't give people any reason to follow you back, knowing that you're probably just going to unfollow them in a few days anyway. So the way that I've been growing accounts, and what's really kind of worked for me strategically on Instagram in the latter start of 2018 and now pushing into 2019, is what I'd call an engaged follow session. And what that really means is to start to work with your own accounts to grow them organically by just sharing a lot of content, but then really starting to engage with people in a lot more authentic way. So when you start to follow accounts and you want to get their attention and you want them to follow you back, you already have a large amount of content on your feed, which really gives them something to follow that they might be interested in. But at the same time, you're not just following them and then unfollowing them when they follow you. You're really starting to engage with them over a longer period of time so that they know that you're genuinely interested in their content. So from there, what I tend to do is I might follow someone that I have an interest in myself, and from that point, it's accounts that are within my niche. So a travel account, for example, that's sharing really great content that I know myself I want to engage with. Now with that, I would then start liking some of their pictures, commenting on some of their pictures, and leaving genuine comments about what it is that they're sharing. So if it's about a particular place, then maybe asking a question about that place and trying to get them to engage back with me, or to start to just share comments around where I might have been. So for example, if they're talking about Barcelona, for example, as a place, then it might be, have you been to a certain place in Barcelona that's really inspiring, or somewhere where you can get a great shot, and just really starting to engage with this audience. So from there, you start to build a bit of rapport with these people, and then they start to comment and like and follow you back. Now, the aim is not to then just unfollow these people at the end of the week or anything like that. You really want to engage with these people over time and really grow this engagement, because you're looking to grow in a community. Now, the one thing that I will say is that yes, this takes a hell of a lot of time and a hell of a lot of effort. I wouldn't recommend using any bots to do this, because you'll just end up getting really lazy comments, really lazy likes, and it just doesn't really work that well for engagement. Yes, you might grow some followers, but these followers won't be that engaged. Whereas if you're really actively engaging with different people within that niche, you're going to grow an engaged audience, and it's going to really help you in the long run. So from there, you might want to follow, quite a lot of accounts that are really working within your niche, really engage with them, really try hard to build a community, and really get involved in what those travel accounts or fitness accounts are really saying. Have a look at the trends that they're trying to grow on, and then really start to engage on that. You can then start to get inspiration for your own account, because you know what's popular, you know what's working, you know what's driving engagement from yourself, and then really start to build content around there and how you can start to grow and start to engage in that way. What you then end up with is a really engaged audience, and then these people naturally start to engage with you, and that's what works really, really well. You'll always find that you'll follow certain accounts and you'll engage with certain accounts, and they just won't engage with you back. Now, I would say that don't just unfollow them straight away. Really try and grow that community, really try and grow that network and that connection that you might have with that account. But if they just eventually they never follow back, they never comment, they never like, then eventually don't waste your time and unfollow them. But what I would say is to give it some time. With the accounts that I've been working on recently, I tend to follow accounts for probably 3-4 weeks, and will consistently engage in their content and really try and grow a relationship. And eventually you might just find that they're just not that interested, or that they really don't care about the content that you're sharing. So then fine, unfollow them, you're just wasting your time. But what I would say is to really try and put as much effort in as you possibly can into growing those accounts, and growing that community within those accounts, and really trying to share different accounts within that network. So you might find a travel account and say, hey, I'd be happy if you followed me, but also this person's sharing some really great content, or this person has got an amazing feed, or is sharing amazing Instagram stories at the moment, and it'd be a great opportunity for you guys to network and just start introducing people and starting to grow a relationship within there. So a lot of people will be thankful for that that engagement. A lot of people will be thankful for that shout out, and it really just shows that you're really trying to be active and you're trying to give more rather than just try and take. That's one big piece of advice that I would say within Instagram 2019, is that the more you give, the more you'll end up getting back. Rather than just trying to get a follow for a follow, or rather just trying to get a comment for a comment, just really grow your own engagement within Instagram and about how much you're spending time within the app. And rather than just trying to cheat your way and using follow and follow bots and things like that, actively try and engage within the algorithm, try and engage with as many different people as possible, and you'll find that your own posts really start to grow, really start to appear within the explore page, because you've driven a lot of engagement to your own posts by giving a lot out there. That's my biggest tip for growing on Instagram in 2019, is that rather than just this follow and follow, you're really trying to engage people with an engaged follow, and you're really trying hard to grow your own authenticity within a niche. You're really trying to grow your own content within a niche, and that will really help you by getting a lot of content on your page straight away and posting 50-60 times, so that you can have a lot of social proof of concepts. You kind of have an authority within that niche because you're sharing a hell of a lot of content, and then that gives people something to engage in with you back. Once they're starting to engage with you, you can really start to grow that relationship, and you can really start to build on it, and this will really help you grow on Instagram in 2019. So if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed the tips, then I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a like below. It'd also be great if you could leave your comments as to how you've been growing on Instagram, how you've been finding things, and also if you'd like any advice on anything. With this channel, we really want to start sharing as many different ideas as possible as how to grow on social. So from Instagram to Twitter to YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, and how we can really start to grow accounts and really start to engage an audience and help you grow on social. So if you're interested in this, if you're interested in seeing how I've built an influencer marketing agency from scratch, then please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. See you again soon.